Okay, perfect. So if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of tell me what you do.
Sure. So my name's Alice Clarkson, and I am the owner and shepherdess of Rowandale Therapy Goats. I work with the differently abled with a beautiful herd of 20 therapy animals. We breed them and train them to work as therapy animals for other individuals throughout their lifetime. And yeah, we also make soap with their milk.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah.
How did your organization start?
So it started actually a little bit before COVID, but we were quite small. During COVID, we had a few teachers reach out that wanted to sort of record themselves around the goats to try to engage their kiddos on screen, because the kids were looking through a screen and not really engaging. And while we were doing that, we started noticing there was a connection between these kids and the goats. And then shortly after that first lockdown, we had a lot of parents whose kids weren't in school because schools were still closed here in this state, and they needed to be outside, somewhere where they felt safe and somewhere where maybe they could touch an animal or be close to nature. And that's what really put us on the map.
Awesome. Was there something specific that just made you think like goats? Let's do goats.
Well, that's a great question, right? Because I had goats when I was younger, and they were always a companion to horses. And so this time around, when I got goats, it was really fascinating how it worked and how I started seeing them as more than just a companion animal for a bigger animal, right? Because they're really good at that. They love being a companion to horses. They get along with almost every animal except maybe dogs. They're not huge fans of dogs. But it was watching them with kids with autism that really opened my eyes to how special they are.
And is there any like specific qualities that goats have that make them good for animal assisted therapy?
So there's a couple actually. So the one of the first ones is they really are the oldest domesticated animal on the planet. So they really are built for humans. They don't shy away from humans. They're very smart. They can be easily trained. And I'm not talking about trick training, but training to be calm and gentle and kind. They're absolutely incredibly smart. Like they'll blow your mind. They're also very gentle. They don't really bite, they don't really kick, they bounce a little when they're babies,
Mhm.
but then as adults, they don't move very much, they're very calm and quiet. They only have teeth on the bottom. They're pretty like gentle and
Yeah.
quiet.
I love goats so much. So,
They do.
what is your favorite thing about what you do?
I would say my favorite thing is probably watching how they react to nonverbal adults in wheelchairs. When I first started this, I thought my main client would be children. And it was when the first group from a day hab or a group home came out that I realized there was something really special about goats and humans, and we call them humans with wheels, but humans in wheelchairs. They seem to sense that there's something different, and they're very attracted to it. We don't have to teach them to not be afraid of a wheelchair. They really, as long as if the wheelchair was by itself, they would sit in it. If the wheelchair is with a human, they just want to be near that human. It's really amazing.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. Um, do you have any hopes for your program's future?
So I'd love to see it recreated in other places. I've worked with a few different farms who have, they've been on my website and they've called and asked, okay, how do we do it? How do we make this happen somewhere else? And I've helped maybe 3 or 4 farms. I would love to help 20. I would love to help 20 farms be able to do what we do out here
Right.
because there's a
Um,
need for sure.
there is definitely, yes. Is there any other like message or advice you have for people?
I would just say, like, the easiest, if you have it in your heart to help people and you love animals, just take the first step. You know, maybe it's just getting two goats. Maybe it's not, maybe it's starting with a rabbit. You know, any animal, if it's sometimes it's not as much about training as it is conditioning, but they can be conditioned to be a therapy animal. They can be trained to be a therapy animal. And it's all about, our own, what we put into it, they will get out of it. And there's so many people that need help. And I would just say, go for it.
Well then, thank you so much. This
You're
was
welcome.
amazing.
You're welcome. And if you're ever close, come and stop by.
And where are you based at?
New York State.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drive,
Yeah.
but you never know. You might be up here someday.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I hope you have a good day.
Thanks, Rain. You too.